and let me know when I can share the.
Yeah. Welcome, Jasmine. You can start now.
Yes. Let me know once you can see the screen also, please. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. Okay. So I would like to welcome all of you who are there for this topic on emotional intelligence to win this world. And this is also my favorite topic. I'm going to introduce myself in a while, and I would like to talk on this topic for some time as to like why I have chosen this. Now, emotional intelligence is also shortly called as EI, and it is one of the sought after skills, not just in the corporate world, but for every human being, it is an essential skill, I would say. And that is the reason this topic is very close to my heart. Now, this is a very quick introduction about me. I'm Primrose Jasmin. You can remember me as Jasmine, that would do. I'm a certified master NLP practitioner. NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. In one sentence, if I have to tell you what is it, how do we program our brain in such a way that it can help us to achieve what we want to achieve faster? It is a tool from the background of psychology. I'm also a DTM. DTM stands for Distinguished Toastmasters, which is the highest title in public speaking forum called Toastmasters. I'm also from the background of psychology. I have done Reiki, and I'm currently pursuing my PCC, which stands for Professional Coaching Certification. With that said, you're in safe hands. This particular module is thoroughly read through and put across for you here, relating with personal examples. Now, the expectation for any session or topic online, especially, is quite simple. There are ways where we can get distracted because we are not seeing each other. So, having said that, I request you to please listen so that you would be able to get the entire crux of this program today. And I would also request you to participate in the polls or maybe the discussions we have so that it can be interactive. And I believe learning mixed with the right proportion of discussion and activities can be fun. So let's also learn, exchange knowledge, and have fun today. So the agenda for today is this pretty simple and precise agenda. We would have some discussions, questions to ponder, because when we ask questions, the subconscious mind starts thinking, and that's when you will be in a position to learn more. Hence, there will be a lot of questions and discussions. And we would also see what is the difference between EQ, which is emotional quotient, and IQ. And we will see the four competencies of emotional intelligence and some tips and tricks using which you can enhance your emotional intelligence. And it goes without saying that if you have questions, you can ask, you can interact. If there is chat allowed, you can go ahead and put it in the chat as well. To begin with, I would like to ask you this question. How are you all feeling today? How are you feeling today? You can put in the
Very good.
input in the chat. Very good. Okay, thank you for that answer. Now, many times when I have asked this question in classroom training sessions or any other training session, most of them have given me binary answers. When I say binary answers, they might say good, they might say bad, they might say fine. Fine is what prominently comes up. Now, we have almost 400 emotional expressions which we go through every day. This is coming from Dr. Travis, who's also a TEDx speaker. But seldom we identify and acknowledge them because we have knowledge about emotions, but we are not attached to it. We don't pay attention to it. We don't give importance to it. Let's assume you have a tough day and you still go ahead with all your work without acknowledging that emotion. So what happens? It gets piled up, and then one fine day it blows out of proportion. So when how are you feeling today? This question comes to you, or you yourself ask this question. Thoroughly check yourself and ask yourself, are you feeling fine? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling sad? There are a lot of emotions. And if the emotion is not resourceful, you can also go ahead and address why are you feeling so, and then deep dive on it. How to deep dive, I'll help you all very, very shortly on that. I have a quick question for which I would request you to please take your mobile phone and then log into this website, slido.com. Slido.com, and the code to enter is 10611041. It is 10611041. Or if you want, you can put it in the chat also. I leave the option to you. Now, the question is this: do emotions play a role at work? Right? What is your thought? There are no right or wrong answers here. You can feel free to share your thoughts. Do emotions play a role at work?
Yes.
Right? I can see the answers coming in the chat. I heard, okay, let me ask your name again. This name, Certified Laughter Yoga Teacher. What's your name again, please? Sorry.
My name is Joyful Rajvin.
All right. Okay. Okay. Please go ahead and tell me what made you to say immediately, yes, emotions play a role at work. What's your thought?
Because when we are overwhelmed with work, like sometimes we are swamped with work. So because we are very busy meeting deadlines, right? So we are swamped at work, and then emotions do play at work, because we not only concentrate on work, but we also, our mind is also a monkey mind, whereby it drifts away to other things as well. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so
Absolutely.
we can't control our thoughts. So that's why laughter yoga comes into play, whereby for organizations and everything else. Thank you, Jasmine.
You're welcome, dear. And thank you so much for that input from you, because you related it to your experience, your life, and then you shared your inputs. I also saw in the chat that there was another input where I think Prema has mentioned yes. All right. So now, when a statement at work comes, okay, when they say that you are emotional and they give a disclaimer, it's business, don't take it personal. It is
No,
highly impossible. Prema, go ahead, please. Go ahead,
yeah,
please.
because it's depend on the people in around us.
Absolutely.
We'll come to the office or we went to our professional field, with the good emotion, peace of mind, everything. But the people around us, it has an influence in us.
Yes.
Always.
Absolutely.
And when you're in the public place, our emotions change all the time. When you're alone, you can control your own emotions when you're alone, but with yourself. But when you're in the public, it can be either at home with the family or in the office or with a social gathering. It changes according to the people around us. So it is not in our control,
Right. Thank you so much, Prema, for sharing your perspective.
Normally, what I do it, is with my age, I just observe it. That's all. Then inside my mind, I chant some mantras or some music in my mind, not to get, because it's changed all the time.
Absolutely.
It happens even in the street also, when you take a public transport, everywhere, when you have interaction with other people, our emotions change all the time.
Absolutely. What you said is absolutely making sense. Thank you for sharing that input, Prema. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And as Prema rightly mentioned, and we also had earlier inputs coming in, human beings are emotional beings. Our emotions keep changing all the time, depending on the context, the environment, the people around us as well. And it goes without saying, whether you're a entrepreneur, solopreneur, or a professional expert, or you're going to office, or you're going to a public place, either way, your emotions play a major role. Now, with that,
the theory doesn't work on us, sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. And with that said, I would also like to share with you all what are the other different contexts where the emotions can really spike high. Now, when a person multitasks, what happens is like, our brain is programmed in such a way that one work at a time, when you really put in your concentration, it becomes easier. And in one of the books called Deep Work, the author says when you give undivided attention to a task and you complete it, that becomes more resourceful and productive. But having said that, in a practical situation, many times this goes out of our hands. We multitask. When you are a homemaker as well as you're a professional, you have to do a lot of things at home and then you have to do a lot of things the professional front. So sometimes you might feel that you can have multiple hands to finish everything, exactly as mentioned in the first picture. And this can lead to an emotion, and that can lead to a physical pain, which is nothing but headache, or different people have different symptoms. And in case if you are a person who's up ready for a performance appraisal, might be feeling nervous when you're on the spotlight. Or if you have a client meeting or an important meeting where you need to really crack it, you might be concerned that it has to go well. Or if you're a person who's on the receiving end and you may have to receive a feedback, you might feel uneasy sometimes. Or you might take it productively also. Or if you're thinking about a new job or a new project, you might be thinking, will this go well? And it might lead to restlessness. Or if you're a person who's working in a corporate, you might be waiting for a promotion and you might be bothered, will I get it this year? So if you see all these different contexts and much more which can happen in your life, emotions are there every step of the way. So human being spends almost maximum of his lifetime in work and work related activities. So maximum of the lifetime, your emotions are coming with you, working with others, and it leads to a lot of different other areas of your life as well. With that being said, how does EI help you? Handling your emotions intelligently can lead to your well-being because it will help you to keep your emotions under check. Thereby, you will also feel good in your body. And then it will also be effective for you when you work as a leader because you will know to handle the emotions of others also well. And it will also enhance your relationships because EI teaches you empathy and care. And one of the sought after qualities for a human being is to feel empathy towards yourself as well as the others. While all these are benefits, let's jump into what is the definition of this word. I'm not going to share this right away. I would like the audience perspective here. There are again no right or wrong answers. This is a forum where we can share our knowledge and experience, and you can also share your thoughts because I believe every word has a different interpretation in our brain. We are meaning making machines also. So, what is your definition of emotional intelligence? I'm going to pause 5 so that I can listen to all of you. What is its definition according to you? Need not match what's there on the dictionary, your perspective. You can also put in the chat if you're unable to talk.
Frankly speaking, I don't have much knowledge about the emotional intelligence. I heard about it, but I have no knowledge about it. But I know that emotion is very important in our life. It changes each second, especially when you're telling we have so many tasks to do it, especially when you are a leader. You're not alone.
Yeah.
So the emotions plays a big role. And you need a very matured mind to deal with it.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that input, Prema.
So in my case,
Yes.
as a laughter therapist, as a laughter teacher and laughter therapist and motivational speaker and a trainer, I believe that emotional intelligence is you how you get mastery from within.
Absolutely. How you get mastery from within. very wisely put across. Thank you so much for sharing that input. Now,
Yes.
yeah, there are a lot of, I wouldn't call them myths, but opinions and perspectives about emotional intelligence and its meaning. So I'm going to give you what it is and what it is not. So on my left is the meaning of the word, understanding your emotions, picking up on others' cues when they are emotionally disturbed, managing your responses and reactions to others, being appropriate in social situations, developing relationships, treating others well. These all are part of EI. I'm going to call emotional intelligence going forward EI, the short form. What it is not is somebody is having a high IQ. That doesn't make them emotionally intelligent. Somebody is controlling others' emotions, manipulating, they are highly extroverted, introverted. All these are not emotional intelligence. We are also going to see some 4 pillars, which are the competencies of EI. But I wanted to start with the definition of what it is and what it is not, so that we all can be on the same pages. Now, IQ can get a person a job. However, EQ, which is the emotional quotient, will help this person to move up the next ladder. And not just in a corporate setup. When you are a human being, when you're doing a solopreneur job or a professional setup or a homemaker, anywhere, your IQ stays the same. But EQ is something which you can learn and enhance. And that's the reason we have the topic also today in this forum. Now, let me tell you who is the reason behind all this. Before that, some interesting statistics. These are picked up from Harvard and Forbes magazine. Now, according to that, they say EQ counts for 58% of your daily successes. And a person who has the highest EQ will be the part of the top 15 positions in leadership and influence of EQ. Only 36% of the people recognize instantly their emotional state and its influence or behavior. Now, if you look at this, it is very evident that IQ can take you to some extent, but it is the emotional intelligence which can help you to move miles forward. With that statistics shared, this is the person, the founder of emotional intelligence. He coined the term EI, and his name is Daniel Goleman. And the 4 competencies which I'm going to discuss with you today are picked up from this book. He says, in a very real sense, we have 2 minds, one that thinks and one that feels. That's why he likes to call it as IQ and EQ, the one that thinks and one that feels. I'm going to pause by and check if anybody has come across this book called Emotional Intelligence, which is written by Daniel Goleman. Have you ever come across this book?
No.
Yes, I have, but I've not
Okay.
read it.
All right. Okay. And it is a good read. If your time permits, you can have a good read on this. Thank you for those inputs.
I have the book, but it is old version, the old, very old version of it.
Yeah, the one I have in the picture is the old version. Yes. The one which you have, is it similar to this or you have an updated version?
Similar to this.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for sharing that.
because everyone has their own way to manage their emotional intelligence.
Absolutely. See, like how a word can be interpreted, perceived in different ways with the meanings which is in our brain. Similarly, everyone has their own strategy, own way of handling emotions. And Daniel Goleman has put this in 4 competencies, which kind of covers most of the areas. And recently, they have also added one more competency, which is motivation. But I'm going to talk about only the 4 competencies that's on today. So let's begin with self-awareness. The first 2 talks about self and the next 2 talks about others. So self-awareness, just the name suggests, self-explanatory, know thyself, know yourself. Are you able to accurately perceive your own emotions and reactions and responses? Are you able to tend to specific situations and people? Are you reacting or responding? Now, this happened in one of my experiences, which I would like to share with you all today. I drive, a four-wheeler, and when I drive, I don't know, I completely lose my mind sometimes when people break rules. So one of the days, my friend and I, we hopped onto the car. We finished a particular training. I was about to drop her on the way, and as I was driving, as usual, I completely forgot about the fact that she was there. I was like, now and then talking about the people who are breaking the rules, and I was agitated, I was anxious. And by the time I dropped her, she got out of the car and she told me this, which was almost like a profound message for me. From then I changed, hence I would like to call that as profound message. And this is what she said. She said, Jasmine, when you drive, I can see that you're becoming another personality completely. She said, you're like a split personality. I can see a different Jasmine when you are driving. And that happened because of the fact I was reacting to every person who was breaking the rule. And I was completely, neglecting her who was beside me in the car. It is not about right or wrong. It is about my in a position to handle my emotions well. And after that profound message from her, I worked on the fact and I understood there are certain things which are under my control. There are certain things which are not under my control. What is under my control is driving the car, following the rules, and obviously, whatever I'm going to scream at the other person cannot even hear because the windows are closed. So, a very quick example. However, having said this, I have few pictures for you all, and I would want you to tell me the first thought which crosses your mind when you see these pictures. Now, this is the context. Imagine you are standing in traffic, the red is on, and there is a person who's behind you continuously honking at you. What would be your first reaction?
For me, I think other people would get angry and just, be agitated. But for me, I would laugh and move aside.
All right, that's a response. Okay, that's definitely not a reaction. Thank you for sharing that. How about the others? You can even use the chat window.
I would be shocked. I would be shocked also. But yeah, I would be shocked and laugh and move away. Why do
you would be shocked because of why?
Because of heavy traffic.
Yeah, and still the person is honking in the back. Okay, fair enough.
But I won't be angry at the person. I would just laugh and move aside.
Okay, right. Now, this happened when I dropped my daughter in school. It was a two-wheeler, and I was coming back home, and there was a person who was continuously honking behind me. For a second, it was irritating, and then I thought maybe he has to go somewhere. He's in a rush. So I slowed my two-wheeler and I allowed the other person to pass by. And when he went in the front, before him, there was no other vehicle, yet he continuously honked and he was driving. I can see there are two possibilities. Maybe the horn was like that, or he has this habit of honking.
Yeah, mainly it's habits. It's a habit.
Yeah.
Because you want to go fast. So you think when you on, everybody will give the way to you. It's a habit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I often say if you can fly, you can fly your car.
Actually, I found it's the main thing in India. People they just on for without any. There is no necessary to on, but still, it's a question of habits.
Absolutely.
Yeah, some people do. Yes.
Needs lots of education. Awareness.
Yeah.
How to respect in the street, in the road.
Yeah. I was in Northern Ireland, Belfast to be precise, for some time, and honking is considered to be rude there. I have not seen people
Yeah,
honk
we are
so
in. I
easily.
am in Switzerland. If you do that, it's a punishment. You have to pay the heavy fine. You can't do it for the marriage, the procession or some football. There's a
Mm.
timing is there.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have to pay heavy fine.
Mm. I'm sure when it is heavy fine, I don't think people would easily honk.
Yeah, anything the money comes, then people will respect.
Absolutely. They're forced.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
No, but in India, the fine has drastically increased, but that doesn't mean that, people are following that way.
Yeah. And it's a part of the way we are raised, the culture, the consequences as well. And it's also about EI. There are a lot of aspects to it. I'm going to give another picture. Imagine a situation where you're wearing a bright white shirt or dress and you're going to a place and accidentally someone spills coffee over your new dress. What would be your first reaction?
Sad, because
Sad?
this is what happened to me. I was actually 2 years ago. I was actually about 1.5 to 2 years ago. I still have the trauma in me. Somebody had. I was teaching somewhere. I was in a world tour. I was teaching somewhere, and my friend didn't tell me. She put the hot coffee on the table next to me, and I wanted to drink, and my caregiver went to get something. And when she came back, I was gonna, and then the hot coffee, it was in a plastic cup. Knowing that they should have put in a proper cup, rather than a plastic
A
cup.
plastic.
So the whole coffee spilled on me. So
Oh my.
uh, so I've got uh, I've got burns from the
Oh,
right
that's sad.
on the right thigh.
That's so sad.
So yeah. So this is just a paper.
This is just paper. Yeah.
Paper can be wiped off. Paper can be wiped off. Table can be wiped off. But what about the skin? Skin can have a lasting impact. Although you have
Absolutely.
recovered from the
Mm.
trauma through hypnosis and all of that, whenever you sleep, sometimes you have the sensory issues, and it affects your emotions as well, to a
Absolutely.
certain extent. So although the day is past already, but sometimes the memory of it, when you see a cup of coffee, that is very shocking. So when I s- when I see this picture, spill on the paper, um, it makes me traumatized actually.
I can see that. So sometimes our emotions become so strong depending on the experiences we have. And the context of what I was saying, many a times people might react if somebody even accidentally pours coffee on them or tea on them. They might have done unknowingly, but first will be a reaction because it inconvenienced you. All right. Now, having said this, imagine you have a tough conversation with a family member or a friend, and then you have to go back to your professional work.
Yeah.
This can be lingering at the back of your mind, and that can affect your day to day routine. So, the point is, emotions can be so strong, and when you are not aware of what are your trigger points and you're not aware where to react and where to respond, it becomes very challenging in the long run, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to give
Actually,
you a very
when I have a
quick
problem,
activity.
when I have
Yes,
a
ma'am.
problem
Go ahead, please.
with my family, with when they're shouting or they are emotionally upset for something for real, then I know that they have some problem.
Yes.
So what I do I just keep quiet, especially with the family members. Or I just leave the room. I just keep quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it takes a greater man or a woman to walk away from the fight.
Even somebody's coming and shouting at you without any reason, I just keep quiet and observe, because that person has some problems, something disturbing that person. So I'm the victim for that. But she's just shouting at me, but nothing to do with me. But we have to analyze that and accept that person. But the same thing is a trauma, if it's an accident, we have to forgive that person. That person is not doing it purposely, by accident. Because I had the same thing with, I was in with the group with my friends, and we have to sing in the evening. So the men are all wearing the white shirt. So I was drinking black coffee. Somebody made some joke. I just laughed. And all my coffee fell down on his shirt. But he and his wife take it very, very funny way. I know they laughed. They didn't take it seriously. They didn't shout at me, because they have to go back home, but they didn't go. But they know that they tried to clean it, but they didn't get upset. This is all how you're taking the things.
Yeah.
It's all depend on our own emotion.
Absolutely.
I think controlling our own emotion, accepting our emotion is more important than controlling the emotion of others.
Yes, absolutely. And when you said this, that they did not become upset, they were laughing at it. And then you also gave an answer that, it depends on the way we take it. That is the awareness. That is the first competency. When you're aware of the person opposite to you, the context, and you can respond instead of quickly reacting, that is the high self-awareness. Thank you for sharing that incident with us, Prema.
Thank you.
Now, this is a questionnaire which you can use whenever you are going through your trigger points. The first one is whenever you have an interaction, a situation at home or at work that caused an emotional reaction in you that did not go well, only for those contexts, then you can sit and reflect upon with these three powerful questions. Who was involved? You and who else? What triggered your response or your reaction? And what was the outcome? Did you both become upset, or one of you had to say something? And how did it affect the entire flow of the day? When you deep dive in it, what happens is you will become highly self-aware as days go by. And the last question is something for which you will write the answer when we finish the session, because that's when it will become more profound. Based on what you learned today, what could you have done differently for that situation which you have written? So, in a way, this activity might look very simple, but then when you write down, your brain is becoming highly aware about your own emotions and what are your trigger points. So that brings us to the completion of the first competency. Next comes the second competency. You're aware about your emotions. Now, how are you going to manage them? In other words, self-management is also called as self-control. Now, for this, I'm going to ask you these questions. I'm sure, or maybe I'm just assuming, some of us might have come across any one of these red flags or breakdowns. Maybe an angry burst out, a door slamming, or maybe you have witnessed one using of sarcasm or inappropriate humor, or when you were angry, you wrote an email or somebody wrote you an email. And when there was situations which were worse, you wanted to isolate yourself or withdraw, or maybe there were people who were holding grudges, or you experienced a passive aggressive behavior. Now, I'm going to pause on the last phrase alone, because in my experience in some of the training sessions, when I mentioned this passive aggressive behavior, participants asked me questions around them. So with that note, what is your understanding on this term passive aggressive behavior? What do you think it is? Passive aggressive behavior. Have you come across this term? The last one.
See, last time when I had my very, very heavy periods, now I don't have it anymore. But I used to have this kind of behavior. And as a effect of pre-menopause or till the real menopause, because of endometriosis, I had really, really heavy bleeding, and I can relate to this as well.
Right.
Sometimes,
Okay.
Sometimes with my neurological condition, when I can, as a laughter therapist, I can know when is a person not in a good mood or in a good mood, because we are supposed to be neutral, we're supposed to be calm, and we're supposed to be happy. And the last statement for this emotional red flags and breakdowns, I can relate to you even now, because last time I used to have bleeding, and now I emotionally laugh so much until sometimes if I don't like what's being said, even though if I'm a laughter therapist, I laugh until I experience a emotional catharsis. That means like emotional release out, and then you feel much better after that.
I get that. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Sometimes you need, as a professional or laughter therapist, or as a professional, for everyone here, whether you're a trainer or not, everyone goes through emotional red flags, and everyone needs a detox. I don't know whether red flags are the same as breakdowns. To me, it's the same, right?
Yeah, let me explain that. Yeah. So Rajvi, right? So thank you for sharing that input. Now, why I call them as two separate words, red flags is like, when the emotion really spikes up. And breakdown is when you are isolating yourself or you are exhibiting certain behaviors. Okay. Now, passiveness is a behavior, aggressiveness is a behavior. When you combine these two, it becomes passive aggressive. Now, there are certain times, I don't know if you've come across the situations back in your school days, college days, or now also with your friends, close ones. Okay. When you have a misunderstanding and when you go ahead and ask an apology, you say sorry, they would say, yeah, it's okay, all right. And the next day, they might not be talking to you in the same way like before. But when you ask them, are you fine? Is everything cool between us? They might go ahead and say, yeah, I'm fine. But then they will not be normal. So the behavior they are exhibiting with you is called as passive aggressive, because they are not openly telling you, and neither are they completely, forgiving you. They're somewhere in between. And then they are not being normal with you. That is called as passive aggressive. It's not so outspoken, but it is hidden. And this is something which results out of emotional hurt. Again, having said all these things, it's not about right or wrong. We're only discussing about there are certain emotions which you might have come across or you might have faced, but how do we control them? That's the solution part. Yeah. Now, to ask you all, we all know that this is a thermometer, okay? And the thermometer can tell you that when the temperature of the body goes beyond normal, that you have fever. But do you know your breaking point? When I say that, do you know when you feel very uncomfortable that you have to do something to manage your emotions? Do you know that threshold, that saturation point? So that's a question I'm going to pause by for. Let me ask that again. Now we have a thermometer to monitor the body's temperature and say, hey, you crossed this, you have fever. But do you have any idea of what is your breaking point? Are you a person who's aware to say, yeah, I need something now to cope up and manage my emotions? Do you know your breaking point? That's my question to all of you. When you feel physically exhausted, overwhelmed with work, do you realize that and do something about it? That's my question to you.
When I, as a trainer and a teacher and a motivational speaker for laughter yoga and a general motivational speaker, it's and as Miss Beautiful Smile for Miss Amazing Malaysia, I believe that everyone has a breaking point. It's up to you whether you smile or you know. It's up to because maybe it can be at the beginning or at the end. You may never know. But
yeah,
the question is, are you going to continue breaking up or celebrating life? And I'm also a volunteer laughter yoga teacher for a Cancer Society of Malaysia. And I tell my survivors like this: are you in the breaking point or are you going to celebrate your life? Chances are everyone, regardless of your problem, are going to celebrate your life. So you don't know. Life is like a thermometer, right? You don't know whether today you might be up, tomorrow you might be down. But you know what? Prayer, laughter yoga, hypnosis is the answer. So that's my view.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Now, what do we usually do to manage our emotions? Each one of us will have our coping mechanisms, and I'm going to share a few which I have come across. Now, when you know and realize that this is your breaking point, the beginning of it or the middle of it, and you want to come out of it, you can pause. And like Prema earlier said in one of the conversations she had with her loved ones, she walked away. Or you can take a deep breath, or you can do something which is your hobby, which can help you to come out of this pattern of thoughts. And you can laugh, you can relax. And one of my friends says, like, whenever he comes across emotions which he thinks is the breaking point, he goes for a run. All right. And I personally listen to music. So everyone is unique. Each one of you might have a coping mechanism. So when you know that this is your trigger point and you're aware of the feeling and you want to manage that emotion, you can do what works for you. And what I have given is a few lists, but you can come up with your own innovation as well. Now, let's move on to the third one, just being mindful of the time. The third competency is social awareness. Now that you know to manage yourself, next comes the social awareness, because human beings are social beings. We are programmed to be in the presence of others. So here comes empathy. And empathy is one of the key qualities which helps us to survive in the society and which helps us to take care of the others as well. Now, okay. Now, how do I ensure that I show social awareness? Spend extra time observing, asking, and listening whenever you're talking to people, and maintain eye contact. Yeah. And give the speaker, whoever is speaking to you, your full attention. It might be even a difference of opinion. Wait till they finish talking and then you can go ahead and share your thoughts. I don't know if you have come across this. When some people are talking, the other person might be formulating the next reply they are going to give to the opposite person. And some of them might be judging the other person. Either way, that is not the way to handle a situation when it comes to the third competency of social awareness. Remember, whenever you start judging, whenever you're not giving full attention to the other person, you're not empathizing. So, social awareness and relationship management are closely integrated. So, I'm going to take you through the fourth competency, which is relationship management. Yeah. You're socially aware, you're empathizing with people. What next? You can influence people, you can develop others, you can manage conflicts, you can perform in teamwork, and you can collaborate with people. All this can happen when you are aware of your own effect on others. Now, when I became a trainer, one of the reasons why I came to this profession was one is the passion. The second one is I knew that I am able to strike a chord with my participants in terms of connecting with them, building rapport with them, and empathizing with them, and thereby influencing and contributing in some aspect in the development of others. So the third and the fourth competency are closely integrated because it deals with the other people. The first two competencies were pretty much about you. Now, when it comes to improving relationship management, a couple of tips which I would like to give you is when you are in a situation and you sense tension or other emotional reactions in a person's body language or speech, rather than waiting for them to come and talk to you, or rather than thinking, okay, if they want, they'll come and tell me, you can go ahead and ask questions proactively to seek to understand. Now, however, having said that, you can respect their privacy. You can go ahead and ask them, are you okay? Do you want to talk about it? And after that, it is their choice to share it with you or not. And in case if you come across disputes, difference of opinion, and misunderstandings, do not allow it to prolong for a long time. Be quick to settle down. Now, when I have a teenage daughter, this is something which I often come across. We have difference of opinions sometimes because the child who was not talking back for so long, when the child becomes 18, she has her own identity, she talks about her opinion, and as a mother, it became difficult for me initially. And then I understood I cannot allow things to stay like that in a friction for a long time. So when I proactively initiated conversations to have open discussions, that mellowed down. So when it comes to relationship management, I'm going to pause by. And do you have an experience which you would like to share where you managed a relationship so effectively that you displayed your empathy, you displayed your influence, you displayed your listening skills and your presence as well? If you would like to share that, the floor is yours. How have you managed relationship very recently in a very effective way? Not your relationship with yourself, but externally.
So externally with my team members at Mavin or any other place, I manage very well my relationship with everyone because I believe even in the house also I manage very well with my parents and caregiver because for both sides, for external and internal, I believe that we are here to make a difference in ourselves and in the life of others. So my philosophy, since I became a trainer, we train the trainer and in Malaysia would be and then I joined Mavin and everything else is that live, love, laugh, and leave behind a good legacy. And also, if I may add, live, love, laugh, motivate, inspire, and uplift.
Absolutely. That's a very profound way of putting across the entire information. Thank you for sharing that.
And with gratitude as well, gratitude and prayer as well.
You know, this year, my New Year resolution is gratitude. You know, I'm going to be a compulsive gratitude sayer no matter what. That's my New Year resolution as well. So I remember Prema ma'am like saying earlier, she walked away from one of the conversations she had. And in that, she found out that the relationship is much, much higher. It takes a priority. And walking away can support managing that relationship. And that's something which she shared earlier. And that is also one of the best ways to handle relationship. And you would be the best person because it depends on the context, because depends on the relationship you have with the opposite person as well. So there is no one way. If you take care of the first two competencies, you will be able to really perform well in the third and the fourth competency of EI.
Sometimes, if I may add, sometimes I've learned as a trainer or as in the home front that you are your own best friends because you know yourself how you will be like and you know how to tackle your own emotions. Thank you.
Absolutely.
My personal experience when I with my children, that I think you're also a mother, you know that.
Yeah.
So when they're upset, I just keep quiet. Let them shout, let them cry. They can use whatever they want. I just keep quiet. I don't reply. So they maybe shout for half an hour, for 1 hour. I just keep quiet. But when they come down completely, then I call them, I talk to them. 99% they always say sorry to me. And with the friends, with the people who I outside of my family, when I see something, I call them, I talk to them. Then if it's my fault, if sometimes it's a misunderstanding, but anyway, I hurt that person, that's what that person is behaving, but I always say sorry for hurting you. I did unconsciously, I am not aware of it. I just have always have it, how to speak and deal with your problem with others. But that other person has the humility in that person, then we can easily solve the problem immediately. But some people, they say, okay, everything is fine, everything, we say, I'm not hurt. But still they continue with their behavior. That means still they have the ego. I think the main things, the relationship is the humility and open conversation.
Absolutely.
And accept each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as you said, we need two hands to clap. Though you are taking the first step, the other person is not coming halfway through. That is a passive aggressive behavior. The ego is high.
The same thing is when the professional life was somebody shouting, I just keep quiet. Then I'd be in my own mind because I cannot say anything. I have to be just keep quiet. I repeat the mantras, or I'm remembering some beautiful songs in my mind. I just keep quiet because there is no use of arguing with some person who is very nervous. So it will create more nervosity in that person. So better you keep quiet. You control yourself. That only thing you can handle.
Absolutely. And communicating always to a prepared mind, like how you did it with your children, that's the wisest thing to do. That comes in because when you are highly self-aware about your own emotions and you have learned how to handle them as well, because you'd have had experiences with your children and the way they cope up when you do the strategy of keeping quiet, allowing people to vent out, and when they are ready to listen, then you talk to them. That makes sense. Thank you for sharing that experience as well.
I think we have to do with the public also, with the colleagues, your friends. But the problem is also you both have the humility.
Yes.
To communicate and accept.
Yes, absolutely. And you also mentioned something about apologizing. Sorry for hurting you. See, sorry and thank you, please, all these things doesn't cost anything at all. Now, instead of waiting for the other person to come and address the friction, if you can take the upper hand of going forward and proactively initiating it, that shows that you are emotionally intelligent. It doesn't make you weak, or it doesn't make you to go to a situation where you are confirming that you are wrong. Neither of that is true. This is just that you are emotionally intelligent, so you are addressing the issue first. So thank you for sharing, ma'am.
Oh, now I know what is meaning the emotionally intelligent. I heard about, and people are giving, I don't go deep in it, but I know somebody, she's always put it in the Facebook about her emotional intelligent. I never listened, so I have no idea about it.
But I think you're already performing a couple of things in your life, or experiences which you have shared says that you are already practicing it.
That is our own life experience is not from the books.
Yeah. It's just that it is there with us, but a person has coined the term and put it in a book so that everybody is aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So just to summarize, these are the 4 competencies which we discussed, and I'm glad that you all shared your experiences as well. It was absolutely a pleasure talking to you all, and I would like to leave you with the quote: respect people's feelings, even if it doesn't mean anything to you, it could mean everything to them. So, thank you so much for listening to me today. And if you would like to share any one key takeaway, 1 or 2 key takeaways which you learned from this session or which stood out for you from this session, I would be happy to hear it.
What you said now, it's very important. This is, I think, one of the master word, have to keep it here. Very important. The last word you said.
Yeah.
It's very important. And second thing that just came to my mind, it's harmony. Harmony with ourselves and harmony with others.
Absolutely.
And humility is, I think, is one of the main thing to go forward.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you
Accept
for
yourself
sharing.
and accept others. Yes.
Accept others as they are, because they are like that, as you are like you. Yeah.
Normally, with my age, I just avoid the people who are because I have a choice, always have a choice.
Yes.
So I try to avoid people who are emotionally upsetting me, my energy, my frequency. So I keep a distance with the smile, or somebody's invite me, talk to me, I just avoid it. I don't want to act like I am a purity, I'm so and so, I'm so and so. No, I just be a normal person. But I keep my choice that I want to be comfortable, then I keep with the people who are comfortable with me. They can be a stranger.
Yeah.
But I just select the frequency of other person to whom I have to stay for half an hour or 45 minutes or 1 hour. Some excuse with a beautiful smile, loving smile, and keep in distance.
Absolutely.
And with the family get together also, I just keep quiet and just listen. Don't get into the argument.
Yeah. Listening is the wisest thing to do, and the difficult thing also, because that's why God blessed us with 2 years, because listening is definitely a little challenging.
I think we have to create our own world in our mind, which is so beautiful, which is in our control.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you very much. So first, thank you so much, because I heard about it, but I have no idea about emotional intelligence. So now I know what it is. And you are a good speaker, and you don't talk blah, 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 blah.
Thank you
That's
so
what
much for sharing that.
I always go through the frequency. If I see one person, I said, okay, this person, because time is also very important.
Absolutely.
So utilize each minute of yours. So thank you so much, Jasmine. Thank you so much.
I'm glad that you were interactive throughout the session, sharing your thoughts. That added a lot of, importance to the session itself. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to now hand over the session to Shabana. Thank you very much, people.
Thank you so much, Jasmine. It was really wonderful session, and we all learned a lot about self-awareness, social awareness, and it, of course, building our emotional intelligence, because we all falter and we are still, learning in progress. So thank you so much, and we look forward to having you again sometime in future.
Absolutely, I would love to. Yeah. I would love to talk again. Thank you so much, Shabana.
Yes, Jasmine, also quite interesting to talk to you.
Yeah. Oh, ma'am, please, please go ahead.
Actually, I made so many decisions last year and this year because the time changes. So we are also matured. I told myself, I don't want to put labels on others. I don't want to put the labels on me. Accept them as they are. Accept me as I am. So things are changing a lot. And be authentic all the time.
Yeah. And you're also acting from your circle of influence, which is under your control.
We have to work on ourselves. We have to work on it because the world it's different thing, but we can control ourselves. That we have to mature that feelings. We have to mature ourselves.
Yes. And that also removes that victim feeling, because if you see people who do not have...
You could never, if you have, for me, it's a sin. The victim feeling is a sin. If you have some problem, just talk with the people, discuss with people and clear it. We are all master of ourselves.
Absolutely.
But if you know that with the humility, it's changed a lot.
Yeah. And people who don't have this awareness will be constantly in the victim mindset and blame the world, blame the people, say, why is this happening to me, so on and so forth. So let's spread this good news of you are the master of your own mind, as you have rightly said.
Yeah, with the humility.
With
it's
humility,
very important.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mastering of your mind, mastering of yourself. You can be uneducated, you can be a president, but you are. I am. I have my own self-respect. I'm the master of myself. I'm the one whom I love. It's more important. It's you. It's more important. Nothing wrong. You may be highly educated. You're not educated, but each person is unique.
Yeah.
I think we have to work on ourselves. We must have that inner mastery in ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's you not need to highly educate. This is all coming from inside. Just connect it to yourself.
Absolutely.
And observe what is happening outside. Because you learn everything in every day, Today I also have learned so many things from you.
And I have learned a lot from the wonderful questions and experiences you all have shared.
And now the energy is so good, it's the energy of enlightenment. I feel it because I'm very sensitive with the energy. So I just take the maximum time, to contemplate.
That's beautiful.
And I'm the happiest person when I'm alone because I'm in my own world. But we cannot do it all the time because we have a professional life, we have a family life, we have a social life.
Yeah.
But whenever I'm alone, I'm the happiest person in the world.
Your me time. That's wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Jasmine, so much.
Thank you so much, Prema. Thank you
Normally,
so much.
I don't talk much. That I think they know that.
Oh, okay. It's a pleasure that you are there and you are sharing all this. Thank you so much.
But I think she knows I don't talk much.
Yeah. So thank you, Premaji, for sharing all the wisdom. It was really wonderful listening to you and listening to Jasmine. Thank you. It was
Thank you, everyone.
And
thank you, everyone.
See you again tomorrow.